So welcome everyone to our Book Yourself Solid segment again this morning. I have two guests with me this morning, Raul and Memli, and we're going to be talking about digital strategies. And digital strategies are important in any world, and certainly in this current environment, really helpful to also have a good solid digital strategy, because it's a little more difficult to go out and shake hands and hug babies as we talk about. And so let me just introduce our guests this morning. So this morning we have Raul, and Raul is the owner of his own digital marketing company, and he is all about growth hacking in the digital world. And he is a digital marketing consultant and growth hacker of his own company, and he specializes in working with clients to assist them in growing their business in a digital world. Now, some of the brands that some of you may be familiar with that Raul has had the ability to work with and help grow their teams is Yardi, which is the second largest rental management software in the real estate industry. And through his time there, he also worked with Property Shark, which if you're in the real estate business should be a name and a brand that's pretty familiar to you. He also worked with Boonsoft in the software development capacity. He got his degree in computer science. And it was one of the fun things to note about Raul is that he also is the founder and managing director of pitstops.ro, which is a motorsport magazine, which if I remember correctly, Raul is the largest online digital publication in Romania in motorsports. You can correct me on that if I'm incorrect on that when we give you an opportunity to speak. And then we also have Memli with us this morning, and Memli is the digital marketing manager at Relevance International. Relevance International is an international PR and marketing full 360 suite of services firm located in New York City with offices in Los Angeles and London. And as head of Relevance Digital Division, Memli leads a team of dedicated, creative, and analytically driven members to provide strategy and execution for an array of integrated digital advertising and marketing services. Prior to joining Relevance, he worked for Glass Media as the head of its digital division for more than 5 years. And he also was originally the head of content for its OTT network, coined Gloss TV, where he produced female-focused content for various consumer products and goods and brands. And at Relevance International, Memli is responsible for search engine marketing, search engine optimization, mobile advertising, cross-platform targeting, organic and paid social media, creative content curation and design. And that's a mouthful, and that's a full day is what I would say for Memli at Relevance. So today, we are going to be talking about the digital and online strategies that we can use as we're working with our businesses and our brands. So we're going to be talking about, and there's a host, right? And so in the Book Yourself Solid methodology, which is what we're talking about and what we stay focused on, is that you don't need to do all of them. And in fact, the smaller your team, it's probably a good idea to pick a couple, but run those balls all the way down the field every single day consistently. And it's the consistency and the frequency that will be the differentiator. One, because you need to do a lot of testing and you need to come up with ideas. You need to try it, test it, measure it, rinse, repeat. Exploit, measure, repeat. exploit, measure, regroup, repeat. So today we're going to be talking about your web strategy. And does it all start with your web? Is that where we start? We're going to be talking about social media. Is social media important? What's the purpose of social media in an overall digital strategy? We're also going to be talking about how to entice and encourage engagement on these different platforms, whether it's your website, social media, whether you're sending out a direct outreach, a landing page, how to get people connected to that, informational products, and how to entice people to care about what you care about, and also how you can do it in a way so your prospects get to know you better, so they can do what we call in the book Yourself Solid methodology, decide if you're the best service provider for them and if they're the best client for you. So when the time comes for them to raise their hand and say, I want to have a deeper conversation, then everything that we've done in this digital roadmap leads us to the next logical step and the next logical place. So I'm just going to quickly, I know I did an introduction for Memli and Raul, but I want you to just get to know them a little bit more today. And sometimes these online and digital topics can be a little heady. And I want us to make sure we have fun today and that you get to know that this is not a big deal. That the digital strategies that you use, especially when you hire experts like Raul and Memli, it can really be a fun journey when you can trust your brands and trust yourself to them, so they can help guide you as to the best strategies that are going to work for your business. So Memli, I'm just going to start with a soft question for you. How did you end up in this world of digital marketing online? Why did you pick this particular path?
Hey, and nice to meet you all, and thank you for joining. It's an honor to be here, first and foremost, and I want to thank you, Lorendi, for giving me this opportunity to speak to this host of audience, and you in particular. Very good question. So back when I was just finishing high school, and I always loved the world of media. So I started working at a media group back home. Back home for me is Kosovo, a small country in the southeastern Europe, and I started working there, and loved producing content. Became the head of the editing team, video editing team. Worked in pre-production, post-production, all of that, and then moved to the U.S. and started working at various creative agencies, production houses, and then I landed at a company called Setplex. Yeah, so I was the head of marketing, and this is back in 2010, when the digital world was just starting to emerge as far as marketing goes. So that's when I dipped my first feet in the first time I dipped my feet into the digital marketing world, and I started loving it. For whatever reason, it was easier to convey the message. I found it easier at the very least, and so I wanted to explore this world even further. So then I joined Gloss Media, originally an out of home agency, which then became a digital agency with its own coined network called Gloss TV, an OTT platform. That gave me the opportunity to not only produce content and do content marketing, but also just do the paid search, do social media advertising, and so on and so forth. And the more I got into it, the more I loved it. And here I am today with Relevance International, a global PR and marketing firm, helping clients, world-renowned clients, to reach their marketing goals. And I work with some of the best clients, and all of this is a product of my love towards digital marketing.
Fantastic. So you take something that seems a bit complex and a lot of moving parts, and you've really made it the fabric of your work and your life. So, Memli, thank you so much. Raul, what was your journey into this world, and then also how you ended up owning your own firm?
Yeah, thank you, Lindy. Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone. So it was kind of similar to Memli, except that I liked websites since I was a kid. I liked building websites. I studied computer science, but started learning software development. But it wasn't something that I loved doing every day for a few years. So I've tried on finding stuff that I like, and I've swapped fields. I've done graphic design, I've done project management, I've started learning digital marketing back in 2006. Search engine optimization was quite different than it is today. And but at the same time, I liked the fact that you could do some tweaks here and there to a website, and you can see it out there. So in 08, 09, I've started a job as a graphic designer, and by mistake or by luck, I don't know how to call it, I had a task that involved SEO, search engine optimization, and that was the beginning for me, at least at that time. It was something that I've done on the side. I was a graphic designer, and then I was a software developer. But as a side job, I was doing digital marketing. Started with search engine optimization, then I've discovered pay-per-click, later on email marketing, and so on, and gradually added digital marketing fields. And in I think it was in 2011 when or 2012 when I've joined Yardi and worked on Property Shark, Point Two Homes, which is similar to Zillow, but in Canada nowadays. Then I've swapped projects and joined Commercial Cafe, which is similar to LoopNet, and it's part of Yardi. Started as an SEO expert, and then built my way into the company as an SEO manager and digital marketing manager, having my own team, hiring, recruiting, and overseeing budgets, paid media, and pretty much everything that a product needed. And about 3 years ago, I decided that I wanted more, and I wanted to do the things a bit my way, different. And I've started my own company, uh, an agency that should and needs to drive things forward and do it honestly. Because what I've noticed is that nowadays there's too much fluff out there, and it was something that that triggered me to do this, basically delivering what you promise. And yeah, I think this is the story, and digital marketing is the field for me.
Thank you so much, Raul. One of the things that you said that really resonates with me is delivering what you promise. And I think in the world of marketing and advertising in general, it's hard for a business owner to know what exactly is going to work for them. And I think that, like we talked about before, there is a science to it, and then there is part of science is testing. And so looking at what's the return on my investment for every dollar I spend, what could I expect over what period of time is something that's really important. We're going to be talking about that, how one can confidently have a reasonable expectation around that. So, how important is a digital strategy in growing a real estate brokerage, development firm, construction company? or a leasing company, how important is a digital strategy? And how important is it to have an expert like you on the team? I'm going to start with Raul on this one. How important is it, and how important is it for you to have someone like yourself on the team?
Well, 1 year ago, I would say, would have said very important. Nowadays, it's critical. You can't go around it. So if you don't do this, then time is ticking, and you need to ask yourself questions why you are not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think someone that's serious about what he's doing in a business can do something in 2020 without having an online presence. Or if there are certain fields, I'm pretty sure that those are the exceptions.
Right. Great. So, Memli, I want to look to you, and I want to kind of ask you a slightly different question. So, you've been very key in paid advertising models, a lot of pay-per-click. So can you tell us a little bit more about why paid advertising models should also be considered in a digital world?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So paid advertising, it's very critical. Having paid advertising as part of your strategy, I think it's key right now more than ever because of the saturation on the web, right? And so how do you? It's really good to have a content strategy, that organic content strategy that differentiates your brand from everybody else. But how do you get the word out there in a way which is rapid, right? Right now, with everything going on, brands are looking for ways to get eyeballs on their brands as quick as possible, and paid advertising allows you to do that. So then, an organic strategy would help the brand to do just that. It's about speed in which you get in front of an audience. So that's my answer.
Right. So if you have a long time, then a good search engine optimization strategy, which is kind of foundational, you need to have that. If you have a long time, then maybe search engine optimization could be your only strategy. But what I hear you saying, correct me if I'm wrong, that if speed to market is important to you, then paying for some advertising in the digital world can be helpful. Is that right?
Absolutely, absolutely, and we're seeing that a lot with the clients that are coming to us nowadays. Where before it was just okay, how can you get my social media to look great, my social media channel? So how can you make my website be optimized? And all those are great and they deliver results. It's just that the time span which the result comes in is pretty long. But now brands are coming to us and saying, hey, listen, how fast can you get me out there in front of people, because I need option right now, because the world is all focused on the digital right now. Mm-hmm. So eyeballs are there, and we know that.
So Raul, I'm going to pivot to you for a moment, and just expanding on that a little bit further. Is there any additional metrics for performance of advertising that we get when we use paid services that we don't get from a search engine, from a purely SEO strategy?
Well, not really. I mean, I totally agree with Memli. If you want instant results, then you definitely need to employ some PPC, paid advertising tactics. It doesn't matter if it's Google or Facebook ads. It all depends where your audience is, where the right audience is. But if you want instant results, you look at pay-per-click. If you have time, definitely, if you're looking at the long run, SEO, social media, organic activities are the ones that you should be looking into, because it's scalable. And once you stop, the return doesn't stop. But what I've seen happening is that with PPC compared to the SEO, people are more looking into or expecting to have more results compared to the SEO. So because that's purely money poured into their strategy. And if you put 1,000, 10,000, doesn't matter, into a campaign, you're more focused into seeing exactly what's happening compared to the SEO, where the expectations are something needs to happen in time. But with PPC, it's what is happening. Why is this and not that?
Right.
And how many leads do I get? How many clients can I get with a certain budget? When? Is it yesterday, if possible? So there are multiple questions usually. Not really metrics, but more questions with PPC.
Right. So I'm going to start with you, Raul. What could one expect? Say they were a real estate firm, and let's say they're a development company, just to give you kind of a tighter vertical, and this is just an example. And they've built the project, they need to get it leased up. And so they decide to dedicate a decent amount of change, not just to their search engine optimization strategy, but also to pay-per-click, maybe even some ads on different channels and so forth. What should one expect from a range of an ROI perspective? If I spend $1, what should be a reasonable expectation that will let me know I've picked the right target market, I have the right messaging, I'm firing on all the cylinders? And that's part of it, right? That we have to have all of those things. It doesn't do any good to just throw money at it, but we have to have all of those kind of pins lined up. But once I have those lined up, what would be a reasonable expectation for kind of a return on investment, if you could give us a range?
Yeah, well, in this case, SEO won't help. So definitely, if you're that persona, I wouldn't advise SEO, because with SEO, you would see results at, I don't know, within 6 months, maybe. Usually you're starting to see some results faster than that, but it's not, I wouldn't set some expectations earlier than that. So if you're a developer or a development company that wants to build a website and then get some traction, I would definitely recommend social media and some paid advertising. And then to work on a budget and basically decide where's the threshold for that budget. Because if you're a developer in New York and you do pay-per-click, you would need a certain budget compared to a developer in Texas or California. In New York, usually clicks are costing 3 or 4 times more than other areas of the country. So it's very important to set the right budget. If you're spreading thin or having a budget that's not enough, then I would discuss this with the client, because you need to know. It's not fair to get that budget, start doing something if it's not enough, and there's slim chances to get some results with it. And then decide which topics, keywords are relevant for you. What's your audience? If you're targeting millennials, or if your target is, I don't know, families with kids. So depending on that, you need to see the budget and predict something. So there are multiple variables here. But it all starts with, when do you want results? And for developers, they need to have results instantly. And with a pay-per-click activity, you should have some results and some leads instantly with PPC. I couldn't really say how many with a certain budget at the moment, because usually what we do after we decide on a budget is take a stake out of that budget, test it, and then do some predictions.
Right. Thank you. Go ahead, guests, and begin to fill the chat room with questions that you have for our experts this morning. Again, this is the Book Yourself Solid series with the New York City Network Group in conjunction with Rusa Advisors. And in the Book Yourself Solid method, we explore many ways for us to get in front of as many people as possible, to share our message with them in an authentic way so that when the time is right, and they're ready, willing, and able, they can raise their hand and engage in a conversation. So one of the things that I love about hosting this type of topic, especially in a real estate environment, is that what you just described, Raul, on understanding your target market, doing research, understanding the economics of what it might cost me in New York versus Texas, is real estate 101. It's development 101. So a lot of times people have a hard time understanding. It feels really ambiguous. I don't understand how digital works. I don't understand how online works. And it's using very much the same skills that we use in trying to decide, should I build a property here? Should I improve a property here? It's very much similar. We use a lot of the same evaluation points and research points. So for those of us that are in the real estate industry, it really behooves us to take a deeper dive and to really expand our knowledge of what a good digital strategy and online marketing strategy looks like. Because when we do that, our results will improve. We'll come from a place of now understanding what we have available to us, and we'll be able to execute in a more profound way. So I'm going to go on, and so again, thank you, Raul, for helping us make that connection and that data connection. That this is online marketing, digital marketing. It's like real estate. You're purchasing real estate, and so if I'm buying it in New York versus Midland, Texas, there is going to be a difference from a cost differentiation perspective. The nice thing is, different than the advertising models of yore, is that we actually have much more research and we have a lot more data now. So our predictions can be a little tighter, right? So Memli, I want to turn to you now for a moment, and I want to ask you, a question related to this. And so my question for you is, can you give me an example of a time when you really took some time and worked with a client to evaluate these strategies and the results paid off? Took the time, you learned who the target market was, you knew where you were in the footprint of it all, and what happened for you?
Yeah, so we do this at Relevance. We do this with every client that comes to us, right? We take the time to identify, the target audience, identify, what the goals are, and also where this target audience lives, right? We need to know where they live in the digital world. So I can give you a few examples, but one that comes to mind is Desert Properties. Desert Properties is a client of ours. They are they're landlords in New York. They own, close to 1 million square feet of office and retail space in the areas of Chelsea, Nomad, and Union Square in New York City. And so just when COVID hit, they started seeing a lot of vacancies. With their tenants just started moving out, because especially the office and the retail space. So they came to us, and they basically had no strategy in place. They had no marketing plan, none of that. So they turned to us for advice, and we had to move quickly and make sure that we are able to now in a whole new reality, right? Make sure to identify the right audience for them and build a plan around reaching a target audience that may have been in the city, in your city, is no longer go about following them. So we did just that. We turned it around quickly. We built a strategy for them. We built a landing page for them, highlighting their properties and what's good about working with them. All the key benefits, and we optimized the landing page for SEO, of course. But then we went on to run LinkedIn ads, Google ads. Take ownership of their SEO of their main website, and last but not least, mobile targeting. So we were able to do some look back ID and mobile ID, use that data to layer into the mobile advertising component, and look back in time and see which people were in the city, and frequenting certain places where we knew they could be a target audience because they've been there, and retarget them with with ads. And they could have been in Wisconsin, but we know that they're coming, they may have interest of coming back to New York and renting an office space and whatnot. So we've seen, they're still a client of ours, and we're still running their digital strategy. But we've seen great results, and we're building a great case study out of it, because it is, for us, it was the first COVID client in terms of digital that came to us and said, listen, we don't have an idea what we're doing. We just need a plan that works quickly. And we were able to deliver it. So
amazing. And Raul, speed is something you know about, right? And we're going to talk just a little bit about, I want to talk a little bit about your motorsports brand, and how, so just, I get, it's not exactly real estate, but it's speed to market. And I want to talk to you just a little bit about, because sometimes we have people on this call that are not only real estate specific. So tell us a little bit about that motorsports brand and how you were able to take that to be, the largest online publication in Romania. You had to know what you were doing.
Yeah, it started as a hobby, actually, because I'm a fan since I was 5, watching Formula One, motorsports, NASCAR, IndyCar, you name it. If it runs on wheels and it uses petrol, then I like it. So I was watching motorsports since, like I said, I was 5, and in high school, at computer science, I had a project to do, and I said, okay, I'll build a website for this, and I did that, got my grade, and kept it there, but haven't done anything. And after 4 or 5 years, I was annoyed by the fact that the season ended, and pretty much no one mentioned anything about anything related to motorsports. And I said, okay, I'll do it myself. And obviously it was a blog, nothing more than that. But it started like that. I was browsing forums, groups, and tried to find others like me, because we didn't have a budget to write content. So I tried to find enthusiasts, people that know how to write, know their stuff, and willing to do it. And I found built a team of motorsports fans. And after 5 or 6 years of doing this as a hobby, no revenue at all, it got somewhere in the top 10 in the country. And then we got some eyeballs on us, and the results started to be more relevant, and the growth started exponentially from there. So
what I love about what you talked about is that you had a passion, and it didn't feel good to you when no one was talking about what you were passionate about. And so you got into action and you started gathering a community around you to help support you. So it sounds a little, not exactly to it sounds a little similar to what's going on right now, in that people are a little quiet on a lot of fronts right now because there's so much uncertainty. We don't know what's going on. And there is an opportunity to build a community, but a lot of us just don't know how to do that. So how do we build that community of content contributors and people who are passionate about our brands in a time when it seems like everyone's talking about everything except my business as a real estate developer or a real estate investor or a broker or agent? How could I, if I'm on this call today, how could I begin to gather a community of supporters around me so that I can still be passionate and talking about what's really important to me? How can I do that? I'm going to ask Memli, I'm going to go to you first, and then I'm going to go to Raul. How do you take your passion, build a community, and make it attractive so that you can get some traction for what you're doing today, whether you're a broker, investor, agent, whatever your vertical is?
Well, usually passion, resonates with, a bigger power, right? Like you project that, and people are automatically going to be drawn to it. But it's a matter of how, you communicate that out. What channels do you use to communicate that, right? So, to answer your question, I think that, it's the content, the type of content that you put out there should have that passion embedded. And you always need to think about providing something of the value in order for, the users or the people on the other side to be engaging with your brand. And for as long as you do that, in the long run, it pays off. Right now, with the way everything is, you're right. It's hard to build a community and to get anybody talking about your brand when there's so many other things going on and everybody's just like in this frenzy world. But I think that focus on what you do best, focus on who you are, stay true to your brand, and it will pay off one way or another.
Thank you, Raul. Thank you, Memli. Raul, how do we take that passion and make it meaningful for us? Not just because it'll get us the results, but it keeps me engaged in my brand, right? How do I do that?
Well, build it and they will come, they say. So as long as you're authentic and provide value, and also your message needs to basically show that you know your stuff. As long as you do that, in the long run, you win.
Thank you. It's actually one of the points in the Book Yourself Solid strategy. We encourage you to pick up Book Yourself Solid Illustrated. It's an incredible tool to use for anyone who needs to build their business. And point one of the web strategy is build it right and they will come. So in this Field of Dreams mentality, it's build it and they will come was a famous line from that movie. But if we go back to that, right? The power of that statement was he built it because he was passionate about it and he poured everything into that project, and he did it in a way that was nurturing, purpose-filled, purpose-driven for him. And then they came. So in this specific example, in our content strategy, in our digital strategy, we can, working with experts like Memli and Raul, we can build it with purpose. They can help us with the tactical, practical aspects of it, and also help us as we build our purpose around what we're trying to accomplish. Really powerful stuff. If you're a guest, we have about 5 to 6 minutes left. Now's time to pop questions into that chat room. Anything you want to know, even if you don't know what you don't know, which is how I felt, 6 or 7 years ago when I decided I had to figure out what this was all about. It's okay to say, I don't even know what I don't know. And that can be a good starting point as well, right? Sometimes admitting that we don't even know we don't know, or I think I know a little bit about this, but I could use some help with that, can be really helpful. So pop those questions into the chat, and we're here to help you figure this out. One of the principles at Roost Advisors, and we're a consultancy firm and a coaching firm specifically dedicated to the real estate industry. You know, we've come home and we're dedicating 100% of what we do into the real estate vertical again. I'm passionate about it. I love it. It's a really rewarding, some of the most amazing people on the planet that we get to work with in this vertical. So again, just remembering who you are. I'm going to ask Memli then and Raul, if there were one or two things that you should consistently do, if you did nothing else on this digital and social front, what would you recommend? I only have time to do 3 strategies. What should they be? I'm going to start with Raul. What 3 things?
Build content.
I'm sorry?
Build content.
Content.
And then build content.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So based on that, and then ask yourself, do I have patience? Do I have time? Or do I want instant results? Then you decide what to do with that content.
Mm-hmm.
You either go to social media, SEO, paid advertising.
Build content. And I like how you use the example, Raul, of inviting others to help you build that content, right? Is in your motorsports brand, that you went out to other people and found other people who were also passionate about it, and through those conversations. So build content. Amazing. Memli.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do agree with Raul on that. I think content is king at the end of the day. You know, people are drawn to good content, and that's a great way to you know, put your message out there and just, you know, grow your brand. But if I was also given 2 more, you know, strategies or means of you know, connecting with my target audience, then, you know, I would really put a lot of focus on building a strategy around very high quality data, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I had to invest in something, then, you know, I would invest in the highest data I could possibly get.
Mm-hmm.
So because today, what's going to move the needle for any digital strategy in a digital campaign is the quality of that data. So I would say that, and then, you know, focus on the SEO. Again, it does pay off in the long run. So why not start now?
Fantastic. Fantastic. Any questions from our audience for Memli and Raul about what to do? We see so much energy out there about, you know, your social media. How important is it to have a good social media strategy in the real estate world today? Raul?
Very important. So with social media, you establish a brand. It's easier to digest. It's easier to reach out to customers, to potential customers. It's easy to give answers to your audience. And then with that, you can get to other connections that don't really or necessarily follow you, but you get to other people through proxies, and you help out, and you can increase your audience this way. So building content doesn't really or necessarily have to be articles, blog posts. Building content can be an image with an answer to something. It can be short and sweet, but as long as you have consistency and you answer to enough or you provide solutions to enough problems or enough questions, then through social media, you can have a channel that can feed your business.
Thank you. We have a question from David in the audience. What are your suggestions in targeting owners of businesses, the affluent and specific high value prospects digitally and online? Raul, we'll start with you. What are your suggestions to target that higher, more affluent business owner?
Well, the first thing that popped my mind is LinkedIn. So if you're going to that specific audience, then most likely LinkedIn is the audience that needs to be targeted, and then go more specific about it and see which prospects are relevant to you. Put some prospects on a paper. If you have a LinkedIn Premium, a Sales Navigator, it's going to make your life easier, because LinkedIn already provides a way to find other leads similar to what you have, and you can iterate on this one. So I would say LinkedIn would be the best choice at this point with this data.
And do you run ads, or do you use a combination of ads plus just direct targeted outreach through connections? What do you say for that?
If you have a smaller network, then you would definitely need to have some ads. Either way, if you have the budget, I would recommend having some ads. Nowadays, there are some automation tools, but it's tricky with those, because you might end up looking like a spammer, and it's not guaranteed that you would hit the right prospects. And if you have the time to do it, I would recommend reaching out manually. Don't automate things, even though it can speed up the process, but you can I don't know, fire some bridges if you do the automated way.
Right. So Memli, what if the persons that you're trying to reach are not on LinkedIn? So you know where they live, you know where their work is, you know what they do, but they're not on LinkedIn. What other strategies can we use?
Yeah, this is actually a great follow-up question. I see that David just asked this. And so, yeah, so this goes back to what I was saying earlier, that, if you have the budget to invest in true and quality second and third party data, then do so, because what that would allow you to do is to find these people who may not be on LinkedIn, but they do search the web. They do watch, videos on YouTube here and there, or they are reading, magazines, or they're reading, articles on the web. And so how do you go about following these people and making sure that they are the right audience for you? They are the affluent and owners. So by layering in all those segmentation data, top quality, you're actually able to reach that audience anywhere, anytime.
Is that what we call retargeting? Is that what that is?
That is retargeting, but even if you were to just, reach them for the first time, if you do have the right second and third party data, then you are very likely to reach that audience. And of course, once you have reached them more than once and you've identified them, then retargeting comes in place and takes it to a whole new level.
Fantastic. So Raul and Memli, we're going to have you do one final closing statement. It's kind of a fun segment we like to do on this call, and that is you're going to graduate from this planet and you have one message left to give. What would that message be that you would give to the world? So, but before we do that, please, before you share your answer, please let our guests know the best and easiest way for them to get in touch with you. So Raul, tell us how to get in touch with you, and then give us your 60-second message that you want to leave us with.
Yeah, so I was going to ask if I can add something to Memli. Even though the audience is not on LinkedIn, the people that have a LinkedIn account, they have an email address linked to a LinkedIn account. So if you reach out to someone who's not on LinkedIn, he also gets an email. So even though you feel like your audience is not on LinkedIn, they will definitely be able to see your message on their email. And usually it's a business email, and they will know about your message. Now, to answer your question would be, uh, invest as much time as you have in your online strategy, because it will pay out, and it will be worth it. You never know when the next lockdown is. And having an online presence will definitely help. Um, and if you're not sure about that, I'm always willing to help. I'm friendly enough to help out. Don't worry about anything. Just shoot me an email with your questions, and I'll try to help out. I'm sure Memli does the same. So uh, usually people are friendly, so don't fear about getting rejected, because you might be surprised.
It's so true, Raul. Thank you so much for bringing that up. It's one of the things that we really try to help the people that we work with understand, is that most of the time people do want to be helpful, and it's only our ego that gets in the way of not asking for the help that we need. So Memli, how can people get in touch with you? And you have 60 seconds to leave a message before you graduate from this planet. What would that message be?
Yeah. So, I mean, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I would say that's the best way for us to connect. I'm always available and willing to help. You can always reach out to me via email as well. Although you may expect a slower response there, only because I handle a lot of things at the company. So, but if I had to give a message to the world, that would be that, look, if COVID showed us anything, is that the world has already changed and it's gone digital. So this was just a wake-up call, right? So what you want to do for your brand is to make sure that you used all the time that you have to develop a digital marketing plan that works. Invest in it, invest time in it, because it's going to pay off in the short term, but also in the long term as well. Because look, I'm a big fan of experiential marketing. I love experiencing different things, but the reality is we don't know when we first going to get back to any sort of normality, right? We just this whole time, it's proven that to us. I would recommend you spend all the time that you have on and focus on digital, and leave other things aside for now. And if times ever get better and different, then it's worth rethinking it. But for now, focus on more digital, build your social media presence, and build a good website.
Thank you so much, Memli. Thank you, Raul. Both Memli and Raul, you can find them on LinkedIn because they're there. So definitely reach out and connect. And I challenge each of you to reach out and make a solid connection with these two gentlemen. They really are best in class in their field, and we're really honored to work with both of them in our company day in and day out. So thank you, everyone. You can find this this content will be posted to the New York City Network Group. Thank you, Anthony Kazazis, for allowing us to have this platform and helping us to promote it. You can also find this on the Rus Advisors YouTube channel in our playlist for the the Book Yourself Solid series. Thank you so much. And we hope each of you have an incredible week, and go online and invest time. You will not be sorry that you did. Have an amazing week. Thanks, everyone.